Yo, what is up everybody? Welcome back to Joe's Garage. In today's video, we're going to be changing ignition coils on this 2008 Honda CRV. The owner was telling me that it starts to stutter sometimes while the air conditioning is running, and at red lights it'll really start to stutter. I did take it for a few drives and I also felt the same symptoms. In my opinion, it's most likely ignition coils or spark plugs, so that's what we're going to be doing, is removing them and examining them to see how they look. And I actually picked up a set of ignition coils because it's a common problem with these cars. So I'm going to show you guys exactly how to pull them out, take a look at them, make sure they're looking okay. We're going to be installing new ones in the video, so let's get right to it. Okay, so the very first thing you're going to want to do is open up your hood, get the prop up, and then just take a look at your engine. Here it's pretty basic. You can see you've got some plastic covers, and one of those covers is actually blocking the ignition coils themselves. So now that we have our camera set up, I'm going to go ahead and remove this little plastic cover. You can see the engine's pretty dirty. Maybe we'll wipe it off for them. I believe it's a 10 millimeter to remove these. Yep, looks like it's a 10 millimeter. So once you have them completely pulled and backed out, you can remove this piece of plastic. Just be nice and careful, you don't want anything to fall. The front two are actually set in the plastic piece, so you don't have to worry about it, but we're just gonna go ahead and set this aside. Okay, and as you can see, after we move that plastic piece, you could see all four ignition coils, and actually two of those mounting bolts for the two set mounting bolts for the plastic cover here actually hold two of the ignition coils down. These look to be aftermarket coils, which the owner did tell me she had these replaced at a shop along with spark plugs not even that long ago, maybe within 2 years. Okay, so what we're gonna do is remove these one by one, and I believe it starts in order 1, 2, 3, 4, but we're gonna work this way because it's a little easier to get these clips out, in my opinion, from the back side, working our way to the front of the engine. So I'll go ahead and pick that up. It was nice and loose. And then once it's up, we're able to squeeze the clip and pull it. We'll pull this out and take a look at it. This one still has some grease, that's good. Looks okay. We're just gonna go ahead and set these aside. I guess I really don't need to keep them in order, although I'm going to do my best to do that, just because sometimes it's good to keep things in order. So we'll set this aside just like this, and we're just gonna move down the chain. I need to go ahead and loosen this one. So like I was saying, in the plastic cover, the two bolts that were missing for 2 and 4, I believe, those were in the plastic housing. 1 and 3 have their own bolt to hold them down into place, but we're gonna go ahead and set this aside somewhere where it won't fall. I'm actually just gonna set it on the ground for now. And let's go ahead and pull this one out. That one was a little tighter. That's okay. Okay, still got a little bit of grease on there. This one looks like it's in okay shape. No glaring issues with this one, so we're just gonna go ahead and set that one inside. Still trying to keep them in order. All right, let's see if we can get this one. Okay, get the clip. Nice. This one came out, and oh, actually this one does have some kind of issue with it. It's cracked right here. For some reason, there's something wrong with this one. We're gonna put this one in a separate spot. You know, I'll just remember, actually, it's number 3. Let's get this last one out and see what that looks like. Maybe we have something similar going on over here. Just set this aside, and that wasn't even a matching bolt. So somebody, whoever did this job previously, used 2 different bolts. I'm gonna show you guys what I mean. Clearly, these are 2 different bolts here. One's longer than the other. This one looks like it's zinc oxide or something, I don't know, but yeah, they're different. Somebody definitely didn't use the same bolts. I don't know if that was the previous owner because they bought this car used, or if it's whoever did the job last. Maybe it's supposed to be like this, but I doubt it. Honda usually doesn't do stuff like that. We're gonna set these aside. It really doesn't matter for now. Let's check out this last coil. Okay, that one came out pretty easy also. Clips out, and actually this one looks fine. Out of the 4 of them, just one of them looks bad. And just to show you guys, that was maybe 5 minutes. We were able to pull that cover, unbolt the extra coils that were stuck in place, remove them all, and inspect them. It took 5 minutes. So if you go to a shop and they're telling you some high price to check your ignition coils, go ahead, grab a 10 millimeter wrench. You can get one pretty much anywhere. take the cover off, pop these out, and see what they look like. Without any knowledge, you could look at this and see there's this crack and know that there's something wrong with this one. Why that is, we don't know, but there's just something wrong with this, and it could save you guys a bunch of money. It's worth looking into. But what we're gonna do now also is just pull the spark plugs, see what those look like really quick, make sure they're looking okay, because I would need to get a set of spark plugs for the car if those are bad. In my opinion, spark plugs don't go bad as easily as these coils. These coils are cheap aftermarket coils, especially if they're replaced at a shop. You don't know what they're using. It's probably not OEM. I'm not sure what the OEM looks like or if they're branded or marked. I don't work on Hondas all the time, but generally when you're using an aftermarket coil, it's just this nice glossy black top. You can get them from like Amazon for really cheap. I picked up a set from AutoZone and cost was $170. So I'll show you guys what they look like, the difference. But yeah, I would always check your ignition coils before you go jumping into spark plugs. Generally, the spark plugs last a little longer as long as they were installed properly. So what we're gonna do is go ahead, get these out. Okay, it wasn't over torqued or anything, so that's good. So a little trick you could do, if you don't have a 5/8 socket that has the rubber gasket in there to grab the spark plugs itself, you can just drop the coil back in, set it down, push it down lightly, and it'll pull it right out. And this plug is awfully dirty. I'm gonna just get my flashlight and show you guys this spark plug and then show you guys that coil also. Okay, so if you guys can see this, I'll try my best. There is just a lot of junk and crust on here. I'm not sure if you guys can see it in the camera because I don't have a focus, but there is a lot of crud on this spark plug, which is a little concerning. I'm not gonna say it's bad. We're gonna attempt to clean this up a little bit. Let's just take a look at what the other ones look like before we go and put this one back in. And what I'll do is I'll set these aside in order. I'm gonna go ahead, grab a rag and set them down on a rag on the ground. From left to right, that's how I'll do that, from left to right. Okay, let's go ahead and pull this one out. Okay, good, it wasn't over tightened. That's always a good sign. Sometimes these can be so tight in here, and that's also a very scary thing. Okay, grab the coil, stick it in there. Oh, I was getting blocked. There we go. Okay, yeah, this one looks really clean, and this one's a lot better. We're gonna slide this one back in because I'm not worried about that one. Let's see what the rest of these look like. Okay, let's check this one out. I don't like to use the auto wrench on this because you could either do a couple things. You could run into some issues pulling them out with that, unscrewing it too fast, or putting them in also you could over torque it, or you just never know. So I like to do this by hand when I'm doing the spark plugs. Okay, this spark plug actually looks really clean also, so we're just gonna go ahead and plop her back in there. And I kind of just drop them in. That's how I've always done spark plugs. I kind of just drop them in, and the way the air kind of like is compressed under there, it kind of just falls right into place. But I've done that for pretty much 100% of cars I've ever worked on. We'll go ahead and hand tighten this and check that last spark plug out. And remember, don't go too tight on that. You really don't need to over tighten that. Oh, that one was nice and loose. Go ahead, pull this out and see what we got. Last one. And yeah, we got one more, and this one's also pretty clean. So we're gonna go ahead and reinstall this one too. I'm not worried about it, looks good. Let it just fall back into place. Hand tighten it. This way you know you're not cross-threading anything. I will go back and snug them just one time to make sure I have them nice and tight. All right, so just about there. I'm sure there's a torque spec, but if you've done it enough times, you know what it should feel like. Okay. All right, now we're gonna take a look at that bad ignition coil, and we're also gonna take a look at that spark plug really quickly. Okay, so let me show you guys this really quick. Something that's glaring to me besides this crack, and I think I know what led to this crack, there is so much, and you could just barely see it in the camera, I think. There is so much corrosion in there. So something wasn't seated right, or moisture was getting in there. I'm not really sure what causes battery corrosion or electrical corrosion like this. You most of the time see this on your battery terminals and it causes for a bad connection, but this is extremely bad, and I'm guessing the corrosion, it swelled this to the point where it cracked, and I'm almost certain that this was arcing. I didn't test it or look. I didn't have the car running while I was out here either. I can't determine for sure if this was the cause of the issue, but this is a problem, and if it wasn't already bad, it was gonna be bad soon enough. So we're gonna go ahead and just, definitely we're gonna replace all 4 of the ignition coils anyway, but I'm gonna set this aside so I can show the owner and give them an idea of what could have been going wrong. I really wish you could see this a little better. There you go, that's the best I could do right there. You can see how white that is. It's crazy. I don't know why that happened. Okay, and now let's check out that spark plug. And these were not in the same cylinder, so I don't think it's related. But this spark plug is awfully crummy. I'm not sure if it's a fuel thing or how this could have gotten so crummy. But what I'll do to clean this up is just gently pick off any of this carbon or whatever this buildup is. So what I'm gonna do here is just kind of set it in a rag, spray some mass airflow cleaner, but the reason why I did it on the rag is because then it holds the actual cleaner. It doesn't just evaporate. Just kind of wipe it down here for a second, see if this brings any of it off. It's really crusty. I can very gently use a little brass brush, and that's what I'm going to do now, and then I'll clean it off again. Let's see if I can knock any of this free. The brass is a little less abrasive. Yeah, I have no clue why this is so bad. So unfortunately, I think this is as clean as we're gonna get it. It is much better, but it is a little distorted on the tip. But I'm thinking it's gonna be okay. It's not too bad. We're gonna install it and see what happens, but we also have to go ahead and get the new ignition coils out, which we're gonna do. I'm gonna grab my box, Duralast ignition coil multi-pack, and these are lifetime warranted. So I could take these back at any time if we have an issue. I know they're aftermarket, and some of you Honda guys are gonna say you absolutely have to have stock OEM ignition coils. I've used some aftermarket ignition coils in the past, and it's really not been too big of a deal. But yeah, for today, we're just gonna be using these, and I like the fact that they're guaranteed, warranted for life. If I run into any issues, I'll be able to swap them out. So what I'm gonna do is pull one out of the package, and we're gonna take a look at it right next to the ones that we pulled out. See the differences very quickly. So let's see. First thing you can see is that there's a brand marking on these Duralast, and the top is pretty similar. It's just that shiny plastic, and pretty much the housing is the exact same. Nothing seems to be different really. The rubber gasket's gray, these were black. Overall, pretty much the same, and generally they really are all the same. It just is a brand thing. I think this aftermarket one doesn't look bad. This one doesn't even look too bad. The Duralast looks fine to me also. We're just gonna go ahead and install them and get this job over with, but very first thing we need to do before I do that is put that spark plug back in its home. Drop her down in there. Snug her up by hand, and then since they're all already in place, I can go ahead and tighten this one. Kind of. Okay. Now we can just go ahead and install our ignition coils. So how I like to do it is just get it in place, and okay, good. There is grease at the tip of these, that helps. Get it in there, get the clip on, super easy. Set it down in place, and this is one that belongs with one of the bolts. So we'll just go ahead, grab that. Oh wow. There we go. It wasn't seated all the way. Make sure they're seated all the way. It has to be seated, or else you're gonna run into some issues. I will finger tighten it. Just make sure it's finger tightened so you're not cross-threading anything. And I could just, okay, that's tight enough. You don't have to overdo it because that plastic will break. If you over tighten that, it can break that mounting bracket. There's a brass washer in there, but I've seen them break in the past. So we'll just go ahead and grab a second ignition coil, and these come in a pack of 4 like I was saying. I think the list was like 170. I don't even remember. I'd have to look at the bill. Here we go. Clip it in. Make sure nothing is obstructing it when you're pushing it in. Make sure it's seated. That one went in really nicely. Make sure it's in place because this one is bolted in with that cover like I was saying before. That's 2 of them. Let's go ahead and get a third one out of here. Same goes for this. Just go ahead, slide it in place. Get the clip on while it's out. It might be a little easier. Make sure you're not hitting anything on the way down, and make sure it seats all the way. Kind of lined it up. And I believe this was actually one where I'm able to put the nut in, or the bolt, I'm sorry. Okay, I was able to start it by hand. Just tight enough. You don't gotta overdo that. It's seated. And we've got our very last coil here. Get that in place. And this job's almost finished up. I think it took me probably a half hour. It took me the longest to clean that spark plug. Clip it, make sure nothing's obstructing it, slide it down into place, make sure it's seated, kind of line it up where it belongs. And to hold those down, I am gonna put the cover on just because it's only 4 bolts. Before we start it, I just wanna make sure this is correct. Yes, it is. Just kind of get these started by hand. That's how I like to do things. And you know, you could use the socket to start it too. It might be a little easier. It's pretty much the same thing. And we're gonna go ahead and zip this in. I'm fairly confident that it's gonna be good. Okay, and then I'll just snug these by hand. Okay, you don't need to over tighten anything. Okay. All right, we're good. Let's go ahead and remove anything that's on the engine bay and we'll start her up. We just have these right here, the old ignition coils, set those aside. All right, I'm gonna move my camera and see how the engine starts. All right, so an initial start there, I felt like it was misfiring a little bit, but it kind of leaned out there, and we're gonna just scan the codes just to be safe. Like I was saying before, there was a code on, and I'm not sure if it was for the coils, but we have aftermarket catalytic converters on this car because one time it was cut off and the O2 sensor never was quite right. But we're just gonna go ahead and scan this and see what happens. It seems to rev up pretty fine. The codes are still for that O2 sensor. We're gonna erase the codes, turn it back on. Now I'm not sure what that noise is. So at first, if you guys can hear me and not the crazy noise, but I'm hoping you can hear me. At first, the noise was kind of alarming. I wasn't sure why it's doing that because it didn't do that previously. But I hopped around, I looked under the car, I looked all over to hear where the noise was coming from, and it sounds like it's coming from underneath. So when I got down there, and I'm gonna try and show you guys this. I don't know if you can see, but all I'm gonna do here is put a little pressure on that exhaust pipe. I'm gonna take the camera off and show you guys off my tripod. Okay, you can hear it. Okay, and now watch, I'll put my foot on the pipe and the noise goes away. So I'm not sure why it's making that noise and if it's just a rattle. Yeah, I'm really not sure what's going on here. I'm gonna try and adjust that so it doesn't make that noise when it cools down and then start it again. Okay, so overall, it took about 30 minutes to pull the ignition coils, examine them, and then pull the spark plugs and also take a look at them. We found that one of the ignition coils was cracked and one of the spark plugs was a little gummed up. I did reuse the spark plug because I didn't have one to replace it. I cleaned it up the best as I was able to, and we replaced all 4 ignition coils, and the car stuttered a hair on the first start, and then it leveled out very quickly. I ran the codes, it's not having any misfire codes, and while the air condition was on, it actually ran very strong. There was no bogging and no hesitation like it was previously. Now I'm not certain why it's making that extremely weird high-pitched noise. It's something to do with that aftermarket exhaust we have on the car. I'm gonna go ahead and try and tighten that up for them, but I would say job well done. I'm certain that it fixed that stutter, because the stutter was almost immediately happening when you would run the air conditioning. And that's probably because that one coil was broken. I'm not sure it was about the spark plug, but that coil was definitely broken. You guys saw it, and that's probably why it was stuttering so badly when the air was on. It was just really putting a load on the engine, and that spark plug was probably, or that ignition coil was probably arcing, which is not good. So overall, the job is like a 9 out of 10 on the easy scale. You just got a couple 10mm bolts and then some plastic clips. And if you want to do your spark plugs, a 5/8 size socket, and you know, just take your time, pull them out, remember which one goes where. If you're replacing the ignition coils, it really doesn't matter. You could just pull them and put them wherever you want, because you're gonna put 4 new ones in. It's super easy. Try it yourself before you take your car to the dealership or a shop, because this car was actually done at a shop, and you could see some of the things weren't quite right from when the shop did it. You could do it yourself very easily. The coils cost maybe like $170 for the everyday customer, and it's a lot cheaper than going to a shop and having you pay the labor bill plus parts and whatever else they want to tack on. So if this video helped you in any way, make sure to hit subscribe. If you enjoyed the video, also subscribe to the channel. I have a lot of videos like this, and I'm also doing awesome builds like this 2.5 RS. It's a 1998 Subaru Impreza, super rare car, really rusty, where you tore it down to the chassis, and we're gonna be restoring this car on the channel. If that's something you're interested in, I don't just do how-to videos. I do a lot of storytelling and a lot of personal builds, and that's really what this channel is about. But I also like to help you guys out when I'm able to. This was an easy job, and the car's been at the shop for a couple other things, so I thought it'd be worth getting this on video. Leave any comments and questions you have in the section below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. If not, thank you so much for watching, and I'll be catching you guys in the next video. I'll talk to you soon. Peace out. All right, everybody, it's time to announce the final winner, or I should say pull the winner's name out of the box for the wireless earbuds. I was giving these away for the entire month of December, and currently we're standing in little Joey's room. In an earlier video, I had told you guys in the month of December I was really busy doing other things, obviously little Joey's birthday, my wife's birthday, and the holidays, but I was also rebuilding a room in the house for little Joe, because we were getting him into his new room. Santa brought him some really awesome things. You know, he's got his new gaming desk and gaming chair. He's a big gamer. He loves some Fortnite. He's got all his posters up. But yeah, I put this doorway here and this doorway here and built a wall, because behind this is the staircase to the downstairs. But that's where we're pulling the name out of the hat, and Joey is going to be recording me for this. Joey, say hello.
Hello.
Hello. Oh yeah, he got this bed for his birthday from his grandma. It's really cool. He's got a really nice setup, but he's gonna be holding the camera for me while I pull the name out of the hat. So I'm handing off the torch. Here you go, Joey. And I just wanted to show you guys, here's all 4 of the ear pods, and we're gonna get these shipped out right after I pick this last winner. I'm gonna get in touch with everybody and make sure I have all the right information in order to get you these. And I have a little surprise at the end of this too. So I'm using this DeWalt box this time, because I've been collecting DeWalt tools and getting some more of these in my inventory, and I thought that was appropriate. So let's go ahead and drop the names in. We had no new entries, so we only have 9 or 10 names. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 total. That was everybody that's ever entered the contest. And then we're just gonna go ahead and shake this up. Alrighty, here we go. I do want to say Happy New Year's to everybody too. I don't think I said that yet. It's gonna be a great year. 2025 is gonna be really special. But let's just go ahead and pull the name out of the hat. I'm gonna toss it up. One more pull. Here we go. And the winner is, I have the ticket in my hand. Oh my gosh, the winner is Tommy Tenley. What's up, bro? We actually talked in the emails. That's super cool. I'm pumped. Tommy Tenley, very final winner of the wireless earbuds. And I have a special thing on top of that. Ironically, you know, me and Tommy were talking. He told me that his son, his name is Keegan, he watches the channel, and I really love that. So I thought this would be kind of cool, and I have this pair of my first wireless earbuds. It kind of goes along with the giveaway, but this was a brand new box I've never opened. I bought 2 of these at the beginning of when my kids started using Bluetooth devices, and they're perfect for children because they only have a max volume setting and they're just made for children. They're wireless earbuds for children. So along with the 4 wireless ear pods we're giving away, I'm also going to be giving these wireless earbuds to Tommy's son, Keegan. So thank you so much for watching the channel. I think that's really cool and inspiring to make, you know, the videos more entertaining and keep the audience a part of everything we do here. So yeah, Keegan, these are for you, buddy. Happy New Year. Thank you for watching the channel. Tommy, I'm going to be getting a hold of you in the email to ship you out a pair of the wireless earbuds and your son's new wireless earbuds. I hope that he's super excited. I just wanted to say thanks again for watching the channel and Happy New Year's, everybody. That's it for this video. Me and Joey are getting out of here. We're going to go play in the snow. It snowed a lot last night. We're pretty excited. It's the first time all year we get to play. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next video. Let's make 2025 the best year I've had on YouTube, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.